Hey everyone, Nox Guy here with another Destiny video, and today for all you newcomers, I'm going to be talking about the beginning of Destiny. Alright, to start off, we're going to go down here and we're going to use this tab to create a new Guardian. The first class is the Titan. He utilizes special abilities in close combat, either by melee or offensive damage. He can be used for defensive as well. The second class is going to be a Hunter. He utilizes Solar Light to add bonus damages and burns to his weapon. You can also utilize him in close combat with a mixture of stealth and blade attacks. The third and final class is the Warlock class. It utilizes Void and Solar Energy, and it uses its abilities to either do a considerable amount of damage to the enemy, or he can use his ability to give himself a buff to his attributes for a short period of time. After you've finished picking a class, you're going to be able to customize the appearance of your character. You can do race, gender, face, hair, everything. It's really up to you. You can even change the color scheme that you have on your character. To talk about the Destiny storyline, we have to talk about what's known as the Traveler. The Traveler was basically what advanced our human race into the phase that it is now. The Traveler entered our galaxy and found a way to communicate with the human race, and we basically expanded like crazy after that. Our population tripled, we started building cities on multiple planets, and basically we called it what was known as the Golden Age. But with every great power, there's always a great downfall. The Traveler did have what was known as the Darkness, or its own enemy, that was searching for it through the galaxy system. It was only a matter of time before the Darkness ended up finding the Traveler. When it did, we ended up making one final push to try to keep the Darkness from overtaking our galaxy, but it was only a short while after that the Darkness ended up taking us over and killing all of human race. Okay, now to actually get started with the game, I know I might have mentioned that humankind was pretty much abolished by the Darkness. Well, that's sort of true. The Traveler was not destroyed. He pretty much was able to protect himself, and he went dormant in hiding so that the Darkness was not able to actually destroy or fully control him. If you see the beginning of the video, you'll actually see a clip where some people come across the Traveler in dormant state, but it ends up reactivating itself. Well, what the Traveler decides to do to kind of get a pushback against the Darkness to retake the galaxy, he creates these little Rubik's, well, they look like Rubik's Cubes. They're flying robots, which they're actually known as ghosts. The ghosts are able to resurrect the dead. So what the Traveler's done is he's created these ghosts to search the galaxy for any human life that can be resurrected or found to help rebuild the economy so it can actually push up against the Darkness again. You're actually going to see here that this ghost is spotted by an enemy known as the Fallen. The Fallen is basically what is known to look like wolves. It's kind of weird. They look like type mutant wolves. There's no real way to explain them, but this is one of the 4 types of enemies you're going to meet in the storyline that are considered to be the Darkness. Here in one moment, the ghost is going to come resurrect you, and then you're going to be able to begin the very first tutorial mission in the story.
Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian. It worked. You're alive. You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm your ghost. And you, well, you've been dead a long time. So you're gonna see a lot of things you won't understand. This is Fallen territory. We aren't safe here. I have to get you to the city. Hold still. Don't worry, I'm still with you. We need to move, fast.
Now to begin the actual first mission of the Destiny storyline. It's not actually the first mission, it's more of a tutorial. And the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and adjust your controller settings, get it to the sensitivity and the button layouts that you like. Any type of disability or accessibilities that you need, it's going to be in this menu. You press start, press RB. if you are on Xbox One, and you're going to be able to adjust all those settings before we get started. It's better to do it right at the beginning because this is your safe zone. Now to get back into the Destiny storyline. Another thing is whenever you were first creating your character, there was like 3 different types of races that you were able to choose from. It's a cool story behind each of them except for the human. Obviously the human race has been around the entire time except for that small era where the darkness consumed us all. But the Awoken and the Exos were the 2 extra races that were kind of designed around the Golden Age and a little bit after. Exos were mainly designed around the peak of the Golden Age. What ended up happening is all this vast power and knowledge that we got from the Traveler we were able to use to make these exo-humans. They basically took more damage, they dealt more damage, they were pretty much just a robot beast of us. And it was extremely nice to have whenever the war first started. Secondly, we have the Awoken. The Awoken is more of like a mythical type magical creature. They were kind of brought upon us right towards the end, if not after the Golden Age. They were kind of like our last push to get rid of the darkness, to keep from losing everything. But obviously you can tell that it didn't actually happen. The Awoken was just another race that was able to help fight off the darkness for as long as we possibly could. It just extended or prolonged our living. Another thing to note about the storyline is there's going to be 2 different types of ways that you can do it. Well, not just the storyline in particular, but the storyline of your character, your levels. You're going to be able to do either PvP or you're going to be able to do PvE. And as most of you know, PvE is player versus environment. It's mainly just your general story. And there's PvP, which is player versus player, which in this game is known as Crucible. I always advise to do the storyline, actual PvE first, so you actually understand what Destiny is all about, what this is supposed to be actual human life in the future. But if you're more of just like a multiplayer type person, this is generally what you bought it for, was Crucible, playing with other people, then obviously Crucible is going to be the number way to go. There's also going to be, well, I'm just going to go over your general slots on your character. On the left side is going to be all your weapons. Your left side, your first slot, is going to be your primary. You're going to be able to carry scout rifles, hand cannons, auto rifles, and pulse rifles in this slot. And the slot next to it or underneath it is going to be your special slot. Your special weapons are going to consist of shotguns, sniper rifles, and fusion rifles. Then there's going to be one more weapon slot right below that. That's going to be your heavy weapon slot. You're going to be able to carry heavy machine guns and RPGs or rocket launchers. Now onto the right side, you're going to have all of your armor equipped slots. Your top slot's going to be any helmets. The slot below that's going to be gauntlets. The slot below that is going to be your chest piece. And the very bottom, well, not actually bottom slot yet, would be your boots. Those are all your equipable defensive armor. Now the slot below that, it's going to be known as your marks. It's basically an aesthetic. It's not going to provide any extra defenses, and honestly, it's mainly just that slot that Destiny wanted to give you so you can actually have some kind of customization of your character besides shaders and the look of the gear in general. Because you know there's going to be some beastly gear that you're going to want to put on your character that isn't going to look that great, but you know it's going to benefit you in the storyline. So they offered you what's known as marks and shaders to customize your character a little further, just to make that at least decent looking gear look better. Now to talk about the gear, you're going to have 5 different types of gear. There's going to be white, green, blue, purple, and yellow. White's your most basic that you start off with. Green is the next step up, known as uncommon gear. After that, you're going to have blue, which is considered rare. It's really not that rare, and in most cases, it's the only gear that you can actually get out of when you're playing Crucible. But rare is whenever you start to see what's known as light equipped to it, which you're going to need later on after you hit level 20, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get to level 34. The next step up is going to be legendary gear, which is going to be extremely important. Most high-end legendary gear is going to have at least semi-decent perks, and it's going to be the only thing that you're going to have mostly equipped, because you're only allowed to have one exotic piece of gear equipped. So having other legendary pieces that have a maximum amount of light is going to be beneficial for you to get up to level 34. And the last piece of gear is going to be exotic. It's known as yellow, and Exotic gear is usually extremely hard to get your hands on. Well, not that hard. You can either buy it from Xur or get a really good drop. But at lower levels, it's hard to get a hold of. And most of the time, blue gear is not equipable until a higher level. And legendary and exotics usually always level 20 or higher. So if you ever do get any gear like that, you're not going to be able to equip it. Now, the next thing to talk about is the perks on it and the defensive level. Perks on gear for PvE do not matter on lower levels. And the reason why I say that is because anything below level 20 gear is usually not crap, but whenever you get the ability to upgrade or unlock a next perk, you're going to finish that mission, you're going to get another piece with a higher defensive level. You're going to want to equip that because that defensive level is going to make you take more damage in the next raid. So wasting your material is going to be kind of dumb in PvE unless it's a legendary piece you plan on keeping. And for PvP, defensive level doesn't matter. It's all based on kind of the perks that you have equipped to your gun that help you in the long run. So say I'm using a pulse rifle a lot or a hand cannon. If I've got a pair of gauntlets that make me reload a little bit faster, that's going to benefit me in the long run. So the defensive level, I can have a blue or a green piece with, and I don't even know if a green piece can have that type of perk equipped, but I can have a blue piece equipped with a faster reload for pulse rifle on in PvP, and if it's non-competitive, it's not going to matter. I can go up against a level 34 with an extremely maxed out defensive level gear, and it's not going to matter as long as I can put the damage down and my gun's right on key and I can get precision shots. I'm going to take them out. So always try to remember that in PvE it's mainly the defensive level that's going to matter, and in PvP it's mainly the perks that you really need to get the extra shot out. And another thing is that until you get to level 20, you're not really going to be able to see yourself getting a lot of good gear or equipping any good gear that you've picked up. So try to get to level 20 as fast as possible and make sure any good gear that you have or you think you're going to need, keep it stored in your vault if you need it, okay?
Let me see if I can get us out of here.
Once you've completed the tutorial mission, you're going to be taken to the tower. It's located in the lost city of Earth. It's basically the last safe location for everybody to coincide together with because the traveler is able to protect it.
Welcome to the last safe city on Earth. The only place the traveler can still protect. It took centuries to build. Now, we're counting every day it stands. And this tower is where the Guardians live.
Now that you finally made it to the tower, you can go ahead and talk to all the local vendors. Anybody with a green notification box over the head you want to talk to first. Usually that means you have something redeemable or something that you can pick up from them. Once you've collected everything, you've gotten familiar with the location, and you've talked to all the local vendors to find out what's around in the tower, is going to tell you to go to orbit. It's going to try to lean you towards the storyline because it wants you to try to follow that so you understand the point of Destiny. But if you're one of these PvPers, then the first thing you can do is you can jump right into Crucible. Now to talk about Crucible, Crucible is basically a multiplayer system for Destiny. You're allowed to do team deathmatch, skirmish, elimination. There's multiple playlists that you can try out. Another thing to duly note is that in most playlist levels do not matter. There's no level advantages. Defensive level on gear does not matter. So the only thing that's going to matter is any type of perks that are equipped to your gear and the weapons that you're using. Now, that's only for non-competitive. There is some competitive multiplayer list on there that do have level advantages. Okay, now to talk about the story, you're going to be going up against 4 different types of mobs during the story lineup. The very first one being the Fallen. The Fallen are more or less mutant wolves gone wrong. They're pretty vicious and like to follow in packs or houses. They're primarily located on Earth. The Hive are the undead species that primarily resides in Earth's moon. They're vicious creatures who attack in hordes, and I like to call them the Undead Army. The Vex are creatures from a different time and space. They came to our solar system through warp gates. Although they seem to look like full machines, there are traces of organics within them. The Cabal are large, rhino-like species that inhabit places such as Mars and the Twilight Gap. They're powerful, especially at close range, and are well armored with both body armor and, for some classes, thick shields. Alright, to talk about the story, especially when you're doing it solo, you're going to have an issue going up against the boss. What I try to do is I always try to take a high-powered sniper, and I usually clear a majority of the mobs that are giving me issues. This basically allows me to stand back and pick at the boss's shield until I can basically get it low enough to where I can actually take damage directly to his health without having any issues of mobs overrunning me. The reason why I like using a sniper, it allows me to stand further back and I can sit there and shoot at the boss without having any issues of the mobs coming up to me.
The Hive haven't been on Earth in centuries. The darkness.
So to recap, I really hope you guys get a better feel of the story lineup and what Destiny is all about. I know there's a lot of information that I wasn't able to give you in this video, but that's the point of playing the game. There's DLC drops that we, months after end, try to find out new information about, and it takes us a while to get all of it down. I just want you to be worried about your leveling and try to get up to level 20 so you can start getting that legendary gear and you can start equipping it to get to level 34. Once you get to 34, you can start doing high level raids and even stuff like the Trials of Osiris, and you can start getting yourself a beast of amount of gear.
Up on Venus, I think. There it is.
Hey everyone, Nox Guy here, and I just wanted to give a small recap on the video. I know a lot of the information might have been self-explanatory, but it wasn't for the general purpose of reinstating what everybody knows. It was for the purpose of stating what people didn't already know. And the only reason why I was inspired to do this video was because I ran into some what people like to call day oneers in a hard mode raid the other day, and they tried to explain the story to me, but it didn't make sense. So I went out to take the effort to do my own research and to learn the story that Bungie created, and it was so impressive to see how much of it coincided together. Bungie spent a lot of time and effort to make all this make sense. And even if you look at what the story was before the DLC drops, you can sit there and see why they were implemented, and they actually made sense, and they were, you almost could have predicted what they were gonna do next. But I'm just glad to have done this video because it helped expand my knowledge, and for a lot of people that have not already, been playing the game since day one, they're still spending a lot of time trying to learn the game mechanics, a lot of what you can do on a daily or weekly basis. They're still trying to figure the game out. They're trying to learn what you can do and what the possibilities are. So they're not gonna waste a lot of extra time trying to figure out the storyline. But for me, this helped me enjoy the game. I can sit there and play through any type of mission I want, and it makes sense. And for a lot of you that do want to either familiarize or try to remember what it's about, try to rebuild that passion for the game, hopefully this video helped you. And for a lot of you newcomers, I hope this video is gonna help save some time, is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully you're able to enjoy learning the game while already kind of understanding what it's about. But I just wanted to thank everybody. If you guys have any questions about the story or anything that I might not have stated, just go ahead and ask down in the comments below. If I don't already know it, I'll research it and I'll get back to you. It's going to help me learn the story a little bit more if I don't already know it. Another thing is that I'm sorry about the delay on the video. It did take me a while to edit this, and not to mention this last week I've been extremely busy. It was my son's first birthday, and I had a lot of family in town, and I had a lot of things I had to do around the house, so I wasn't accessible to doing any edit videoing or just capturing the footage in the first place. But I'm back to my regular schedule. I have a few more videos that I can edit and update, and I'm still learning the software, so hang with me. It might take a day or two to get more footage up, but I am dedicated to doing this. I love it, it's enjoyable, and I'm going to keep doing it as much as I possibly can. I do want to thank you all again for sticking around and watching the video. If there's anything else you guys want me to do a video about, just let me know, okay? I want to thank you all again, and I will talk to you all later.